You know, for almost 400 years, Britain was this remote province on the very edge of the known world, part of the powerhouse that was the Roman Empire. And this wasn't just some military takeover, not at all. It was a complete transformation. Think about it. They left behind so much more than just a bunch of old ruins. We're talking about roads we still drive on today, the very foundations of our legal system, and a legacy that truly shaped the identity of Britain as we know it.
So that's the big question we're tackling here, right? How did a 400-year occupation completely reshape an entire island forever? I mean, what did the Romans actually do here? What did they build? What ideas did they bring with them that stuck around? Well, let's get into it.
All right, Act 1, The Arrival. Our story kicks off with Roman legions landing on the shore. But you know, it's not as simple as one clean invasion. No, this is actually a tale of two very different attempts almost a century apart. For a long time, Britain was this mysterious, unconquered island just out of the empire's reach.
Okay, so the first thing you probably notice here is that massive 100-year gap. I mean, wow. In 55 BC, you have the one and only Julius Caesar giving it a shot. And it doesn't work out. It's a failure. It then takes until AD 43, nearly a full century later, for Emperor Claudius to finally launch the invasion that actually succeeds. That tells you something, doesn't it? Conquering Britain wasn't just a whim, it was a Roman obsession, a project that literally took generations to pull off.
And yeah, the results of these two invasions were like night and day. Caesar's attempt, a total bust. Britain pretty much stayed separate from the Roman Empire, left to do its own thing. But Claudius's conquest in AD 43, that was the real deal. It was a success. And even though the local tribes put up one heck of a fight, the Roman legions came out on top. And just like that, the 400-year Roman occupation of Britain was officially underway.
Now for Act 2, Resistance and the Frontier. Because, you know, conquering a place is one thing, but holding on to it, that's a whole different ballgame. The Romans found out pretty quickly that Britain was not going to be tamed easily. They were dealing with furious resistance from the inside and a constant threat from the unconquered people on their northern border.
So let's be clear, this was not a peaceful takeover, not even close. All across the island, local tribes were rising up, fighting tooth and nail to keep their freedom. This resistance was happening everywhere. But there was one rebellion, led by an incredible warrior queen, that would go down in history.
And that, of course, brings us to Boudica. She was the queen of the Iceni tribe in the area we now call Eastern England. After she and her family suffered just horrific treatment by the Romans, she led this massive, brutal uprising. It was an explosion of violence that shook the new Roman province right to its core, and it's still one of the most famous rebellions in the entire history of the Roman Empire.
But here's the really crucial part. Her story didn't just end when she was defeated. Oh no. Boudica became something more than just a historical figure. She became this powerful, enduring symbol of British defiance. Her legacy is so strong that even today you can go see this amazing statue of her on Westminster Bridge in London, right near the Houses of Parliament. She's still there. So, okay, even after putting down huge rebellions like Boudica's, the Romans still had another major headache to deal with. This time it was an external threat, coming from the north. They had a solid grip on what would become England and Wales, but that rugged, wild territory further north, it was still untamed and very, very hostile.
This northern land, which we now know as Scotland, was home to a people called the Picts, and the Romans could never conquer them. Ever. So they were just this constant threat to the stability of Roman Britain. These were the ancestors of the Scottish people, and they were fierce warriors who just would not give up their territory.
So, what was Rome's solution to this constant problem? Well, it was as bold as it was ambitious. Instead of getting stuck in some endless, bloody war in the Highlands, Emperor Hadrian decided on a different strategy: containment. He ordered the construction of a gigantic wall stretching 73 miles all the way from one coast to the other. It was a massive, physical border, a line drawn in the sand at the very edge of the known Roman world. And the incredible thing is, huge sections of that wall are still standing today. You can actually go there, walk along its path, and explore the ruins of old Roman forts like Housesteads in Vindolanda. It gives you this amazing glimpse into what life was like on the frontier. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site now, and just a stunning place to visit if you want to, literally walk through history.
Okay, on to Act 3, the transformation and legacy. So the invasions are over. The rebellions have been put down. The border is secure. Now what? What was the actual result of 400 years of Roman rule? This is where we get to the real heart of it, the deep, lasting changes that would echo for centuries.
I mean,
let's just stop and think about that number for a second. 400 years. To give you some perspective, that is way longer than the United States has even been a country. When an empire sticks around for that long, it's not just an occupation anymore. It's a fundamental rewiring of an entire society.
So what did that transformation actually look like on the ground? Well, first up, infrastructure. The Romans were absolute master engineers. They built this incredible network of famously straight roads. Now, they were originally designed to move troops around quickly, but they ended up becoming the main arteries for trade and commerce. In fact, a lot of modern roads in Britain are built right on top of the original Roman ones. Then they brought big ideas, like a formal legal system. Things like property rights and written laws. This became a bedrock of Western civilization. And they even changed the landscape itself, introducing new plants and animals to the island, some of which are still around today.
But maybe the most profound change wasn't something you could see or touch. It was spiritual. Towards the end of the Roman period, say in the 3rd and 4th centuries, this new religion started to spread from the east, and that religion was Christianity. The very first Christian communities in Britain popped up during this time, planting the seeds for a faith that would go on to dominate the island for the next millennium and a half.
So, when you put it all together, the roads, the laws, a new religion, even new plants, it all leads to this one huge, really unanswerable question. What would Britain even be like today if the Romans had never stayed? It's kind of a wild thing to think about, right? And it just goes to show you the massive, undeniable impact of those 4 centuries under Roman rule.